Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for the second to last chapter of the Return to Dominaria storyline. Sorry I'm getting behind on these, but I've just been very unmotivated because they get absolutely no views and make absolutely no money, and my income's down $700 compared to last month on YouTube. I don't know what the hell's going on. So making unsuccessful videos like knowingly and purposely, probably not a good idea at this point. But what the hell, let's finish the damn storyline. Oh, and by finished, I mean they already posted 12. So yeah, I should probably get going on 11. So the Weatherlight flew to Urborg. Cool. They should just drop Raph down with a parachute and he could just talk to everybody until they give up and leave. So some of the crew's like, oh man, the Cabal defaced the memorial to the Phyrexian invasion and the people who fought in it. That sucks. And then Liliana's like, I can't wait to take the Black Blade and cut Belzenlock to pieces, and I hope the pain is unimaginable and everlasting. Jorah thought it was funny, and then Tefari said, I like the way you think, Liliana. And then Liliana just replies, don't make a habit of it. I'm a terrible person to know. Whoa, calm down, emo princess. If you get any edgier, you could just cut him with yourself. You wouldn't even need the damn blade. So this whole entire area is like swampland, just grown over, rotting. There's vines and marshes everywhere, and there's like giant Thran structures that have been abandoned. Then there's like giant Phyrexian stuff that got half destroyed, and it's a real estate investment opportunity. Call now to invest in Urborg today. The prices are so low on this land, it might make you forget the smell. All we need now is for Raph to look over the edge of the ship and say, wow, this place is a dump. In fact, it says the mood on the ship was sober as they passed over the dark landscape. I mean, that is literally Raph's cue to say something stupid and inappropriate. So they're all talking and they're like, wow, like a whole bunch of people died here in the war, and like there's, a bunch of magic around, I guess. I don't know, they didn't really explain it. It's magic. I ain't gotta explain nothing. But like the undead are everywhere because, there was a bunch of dead people, so now there's undead. Once again, no logical link there whatsoever. Like spirits and ghosts like form their own communities and towns and stuff. Like, what the hell? And then there's liches, which kind of requires preparation, so that doesn't make sense either. And Liliana's like, great! I love the undead. So the first step is to meet with the resistance in a small town in the middle of some kind of bog swamp place, because that's all there is. So they meet with 2 panther warriors and 2, humans or something like that. And because this is Wizards of the Coast, one of their names is Sarah. Sayrah. Because of course. Probably has pink hair too. And probably wasn't always a female. So it ain't exactly an army, these resistance people. But they're like, okay, well, we can't spare any warriors, but like, what do you need? And they're like, okay, we need the clothes of a Cabal scout or fighter. Like someone who would be bringing in captives. Oh God, they're gonna do that cliche? Really? And then they're like, okay, we need information, specifically like show us on some kind of map where some of the last great battles were fought in Urborg. I'm gonna take a wild guess that the second part is Liliana's gonna raise up an undead army and just like storm the whole place. And then during the distraction, they're going to bring in prisoners and then steal the blade and yeah, whatever. I would have gone with like, drop the Silex off the side of the Weatherlight, fly away. When it hits the ground and cracks, I think that's how it works. Yeah, there won't be a place called Urborg anymore, okay? It'll be gone. So this entire continent or area or province or county, I honestly didn't look at the map still. But this whole place is one rotting crap tank. Slimefoot's like, oh, I feel drawn to look over the edge and check out this place. It's kind of scary, but, And it says, in the darkness, glowing shapes moved through the undergrowth. Something asked him, I guess, with telepathy, fungus telepathy, I don't know. Who are you and where do you come from? And Slimefoot's like, I am Slimefoot. I come from the Weatherlight. Who are you? And they all just spouted off a bunch of names, Xyaret and Irguth and Silestalker. There's some weird names. It just says he was like overwhelmed by the nonstop torrent of names. And so then they all collectively asked, but what are you specifically? And they said, you are like, and then the words instead just turned into images and scents and just like weird fungus telepathy. And it was like bright green leaves warmed by a hot sun, flowers, rich damp earth, and Slimefoot just says, oh yeah, Yavamaya, that's where I came from. And then Girth, I think is how you pronounce it. Let's just call him Iggy. He said, yeah, there is Yavamaya here, which I guess they didn't understand that was a proper noun. They're like, yeah, it's woven into the ground from long ago. It came to fight. We came here to fight the demon, Slimefoot said. The demon, the voices whispered to each other, passing the word along. Fight the demon. And fight the man. The man's trying to keep us funguses down, man. So there's going to be a giant army of semi-intelligent fungi and plants, I guess, storming the stronghold too. I knew Slimefoot was there for a reason. This is going to be freaking epic. So below deck, they were making Chandra look like a Cabal bounty hunter, I guess, which sounds awesome. And Raph was like reading up on how to give her like an illusionary scar, I guess. And so Liliana kept insisting that they shave her head, mostly because she probably just thought it would be funny. But they're like, okay, clerics shave their heads, let's not. And they like rub dirt all in her hair, probably just to piss her off. This is why you don't put Liliana in charge of like costume design and like disguises. Okay, I'm going to read this verbatim how they did Gideon's disguise, because it was a little bit less tactful, I guess you could say. A little bit less precise. Gideon said, we need to get moving. His own disguise had been much easier. He had taken off his armor and weapons, torn his clothes, rolled in the dirt at their last stop, and had Shauna punch him in the face a couple times. That's great. If they made a spin-off Netflix series of Gideon and Chandra, bounty hunters for the Cabal, I would watch the hell out of that, and you know you would too. So they're finally ready. They climb the stairs to the open deck, and a view of the Death Star, the Borg Cube, Urborg, was visible by the dawn light. So, because of course it is, it's built on a volcano. The place was originally a Phyrexian base, but it was mostly destroyed in an eruption after the Phyrexians were defeated. I don't know how the Phyrexians being defeated and the volcano erupting make any sense, but it didn't really make sense in Lord of the Rings either, so let's go with it. So Chandra steps out with a Cabal sword across her back and a long knife strapped to each thigh. I think they're going a little hard on the disguise, to be perfectly honest. Oh, this part's super important, so I gotta read the whole thing. They're walking through, up to the stronghold or whatever their plan is. And they said, after Belzenlach is dead, will you, both of you, come with us to fight Bolus? That's what Gideon asked them. Tefari glanced at him with a quizzical smile. Into the trap, you mean? Because remember, Jace told them it was a trap, and, the whole immortal sun planeswalker trap thing. Anyway, before Gideon could reply, Chandra said, hey, at least this time we know it's a trap. I still don't think he's using it for the anti-planeswalk ability. I think he's using it for the magical amplification ability. Anyway, Tefari inclined his head, conceding the point. I've fought Nicol before. Gideon was startled. You did? It was a very long time ago, Tefari explained. I lost spectacularly. I personally did not know that part of the storyline, so I assume he didn't win, or Nicol would be dead, or maybe he escaped. I don't know, but yeah, I guess he didn't do so well. So did we the last time we fought him, Chandra admitted. That is not encouraging information, Karn told her. Gideon said, with Liliana at her full power, unrestrained by her pact, we can turn it into a trap for Bolus, we hope. Dun, dun, dun. Too bad that card already ruined it. We know that Bolus controls Nicol Bolus controls Liliana, not Nicole Liliana. That's her real first name. Her last name is Liliana. Her first name is Nicole. Don't know if you knew that or not. Oh, her last name is really Vess? Shut up. So Teferi's like, yeah, okay, one of the main reasons I took my spark back was to come with you. I know Bolus and I know his plans will include my home sooner or later, and now that I have a daughter and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to worry about, which is weird because his daughter's like 55, I find my perspective has changed. He clapped Karn on his metal shoulder. What about you, my friend? Will you come with us? Karn said, I need to take the Silex to destroy New Phyrexia before the Phyrexians return to Dominaria. The Phyrexians are trapped there, Tefari pointed out. You have all the time in the multiverse to destroy them. Karn interrupted. Don't make a time-related pun, please. Oh my god, fine, Karn, you party pooper. But you do see my point. So Gideon's like, okay, haven't heard a no yet. Hey, Karn, we could really use your help. One more fighter could make the difference for us. Nah, I doubt it. What you really need is like dragon repellent. And Karn's like, okay, let me think about it. So you believe the threat he presents is this urgent? And Chandra's like, he did terrible things on Amonkhet, and I don't want to see that happen anywhere else. We've got to stop him. So I would say Nicol Bolas is probably more powerful, more of a threat, just due to his intelligence, than the current state of the Phyrexians. Now, if the Phyrexians already controlled multiple planes, I think I'd swing it their way. But yeah, I'd say fight Nicol Bolas. Also, he's an arrogant asshole, and I want to see him dead. So Karn's eventual response is that he will consider the invitation. Hey Karn, bring the Silex! So to get past the very initial defenses when they get up to the Cabal stronghold border, I guess you would say, Tefari puts Gideon and Chandra in some kind of like bubble of time or whatever. So they can move, but nothing else moves. And he's like, yeah, just walk right past them basically. So they get to a big gate that's like 12 feet tall, which is bigger than their time bubble. So they're not really sure what would happen if they actually tried to open it. Probably nothing good. So they climb over it, and then they're like, okay, now we've got like these floating dark orbs that are some kind of spell to trap intruders. Then there's not one, but 2 trapdoors covered with metal spikes. And they're just like, I don't know how much time we have. Like, we better hurry this up, But they are very happy to not have to get past all those defenses without freezing time. So meanwhile, the rest of the crew took the Weatherlight, and they flew over to where a very recent battle had been. So apparently the plan on paper was to have Liliana raise up a big old army of like pissed off dead people basically, because it was a very one-sided battle apparently, and as she puts it, their bones were crying for vengeance. So she gonna give them a big old redo there, and the whole point was to create a distraction and disrupt the stronghold while Gideon and Chandra search for the Black Blade on the inside, and then just use it to destroy Belzenlock. Yeah, what do you do if it's like, on his belt? They don't call him Belzenlock for nothing. Oh, that was so bad. That was so bad. But guess what? It says if Liliana had her way, the army would also break the Cabal's back in Urborg. The clerics and their death cultists would never recover from the blow dealt to them today. Especially since if you try to use like negative energy attacks in D&D on the undead, it just heals them. It doesn't work. So remember, they use death magic and mind magic, neither of which work really on the undead. So this is probably going to be pretty damn one-sided. Although, I'm just throwing it out there, not to be rude or anything, but the army lost the first time. I mean, they already lost one battle. That's why they're dead. So, back in the stronghold, Gideon and Chandra made it inside finally with the spell still active. They made it to the first hall, and boy did they have to climb over a bunch of doors and gates and traps and oh my gosh. Oh, I just realized that Chandra was dressed as a bounty hunter, but Gideon was supposed to be her prisoner. So anyway, they headed to the fighting pit because it's like downstairs next to the treasure vaults, apparently. They got that information from one of the cult guys that they caught in the Tolarian school. I assume it was the professor from the Tolarian channel, because, he always seemed kind of shifty. I knew he was a spy for the cult. I knew it. So back on the Weatherlight, Liliana was busy raising hundreds of undead zombies of Panther warriors, and everybody's watching like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, Slimefoot. He came up on deck to see what was going on. He's like, oh, cool, a giant army of the undead. Hey, little sapperling kids, go back down below deck. So she brings up on deck a couple of, I guess, like the commanders, or they thought they were liches, I guess Joyro said, but that doesn't really make sense because they were warriors, not wizards. Anyway, out of nowhere, up comes Yargle, Glutton of Urborg, everybody's favorite, I'll say demon frog, because I don't remember it, I'm too lazy to look up the card. And so they're like, hey Liliana, that giant frog-shaped monster whose head is about half the size of the entire Weatherlight. Did you raise that thing? And she's like, no, and FYI, it's not actually dead. So Liliana talks in some weird undead panther language, I guess. I don't know why they felt the need to throw that in. And the panther people are like, oh yeah, the panther liches, they are not liches. Shut up, Liliana. Liches are undead wizards that became liches on purpose. They're not just undead warrior commander people. Anyway, they said, it's called Yargle. It was created when Belzenlock transformed some idiot called Yarkul. Oh, I get it. Into a maggot, which was eaten by a frog, which turned into that. And Raph assures everybody he could help if he knew what that even was and where to start. So then Shauna's like, do the panther people know how to kill it? And Liliana says, no, it's what killed all of them, as in like all of them. This wasn't a battle, this was a Yargle attack. So they're all just like, well, this sucks, this is gonna delay us. And then suddenly Yargle roared and flung itself at the Weatherlight. So back in the Gideon and Chandra sitcom, they had moved twice trying to find, inconspicuous hiding places in the hallway or whatever, because people are all like running past and, whatever. And they're starting to think, okay, like they should have been here by now, something went wrong. And Gideon's like, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Oh crap, we're probably stuck here. Awesome. So apparently they all showed up at like fight time where they make the prisoners fight in their little fight club arena thing, which is right next to the vault, as I said. So the whole idea was create a distraction. All the cultists are called to arms. They all, run out to fight, whoever, undead army, whatever. And then, hey, look, the whole place is cleared out and they could just walk right in and steal the Black Blade, even though that's stupid and will never work. So they're like, okay, let's just chill here. I mean, they could show up anytime. Let's not try to like sneak through the crowd and steal it while they're all here. That's crazy. So unfortunately, there was so many people running down the hallway to get into Fight Club, we'll say, that they just kind of got swept up in it, and now they're in the crowd. Awesome. So then one of the major cleric, top people comes in. They're like, hey, Bells and Locks here. Awesome. Everybody clap. So then Bells and Locks sits down on his little, lazy boy or whatever, and he's like, hey, let's all fight for the glory of Bells and Locks. Yay. And so then Whisper, by the way, is the name of the head cult person, cleric, whatever, announcer. Basically the John Madden of Fight Club. And she's like, hey, how about you throw him in there, unless you want to die here with him. So Gideon just looks back and he's like, push me into the pit. And Chandra's just like, yeah, no. And then he's like, dude, just do it, dude. Just do it, bro. We need to buy some more time. And hello, she's looking right at us. So Chandra girly shoved him, and then Gideon pretended to stagger and then tumbled backward into the pit. And that's the end of chapter 11. I'm just gonna go straight on to chapter 12 in the next video because I want to know what the hell happens. If you also want to know what the hell happens, check out chapter 12, the final chapter, coming up just after this. And in the meantime, check out the link in the description, especially if you're like, oh, I just realized I'm completely shirtless while I'm watching this. Well, go buy a shirt. I mean, teespring.com/whatever it says in the description. The shirts are pretty awesome, and if you ever are forced to fight in an arena in front of Bells and Lock, it'll give you +2 armor class. That is absolutely guaranteed or your money back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.